Let's go. I'm good.
Yeah, checking it out. BJ from More Game Gumbo. Got my guest here, Jeremy Howard. We're talking spicy hot games. Let's see if we can sneak in a game or two more. Red Cathedral from Devir Games getting a lot of buzz, especially the last couple of weeks. I mean, the last couple of weeks, it's everywhere on social media. But Jeremy's got the scoop for us. Tell us about Red Cathedral.
Oh, 1 second here with the Red Cathedral.
Have you played Red Cathedral?
Okay, here it is. First of all, you can actually see it on TTS if you really, really want to play it, whatnot. Tabletopia. So what you're basically doing is there's a kind of a castle you're helping build. And on that castle, you have these cards laid up, like going up on the side of the board. And then you also have this little town board area here as well. And there's going to be dice in certain spots around here in these little 3 spots. And there's also going to be resources in these little spots right here. And then on the corners, you're going to have these kind of citizens, different parts that represent that quadrant, the different quadrants on here. And they're going to have abilities that you can trigger. So what you're doing on your board is you're taking one of 3 actions. And what you're really doing is claiming one of the cards that helps build the building. And that basically makes it so you can only put resources on that card. Another thing you can do is put on resources on a card. And then another one that you can do on that city board is you can take a die and move it across that many spaces and gain the resources for wherever you stop at. Plus, trigger one of the guys, the people that you stop in front of, and they'll give you extra coins, they'll give you extra resources, they'll give you conversion of resources. And what you're doing is you're building this little bit of an engine going on so that you can score points, but also I think it's called like intrigue. And what happens is at the beginning, it's like 5 intrigue to 1 point. Then it goes 4 to 1 point, 3 to 1 point, 2 to 1 point, and then eventually you start scoring points towards the end. But what you're ultimately trying to do is build these cards by putting resources on them. And then all of a sudden, you have parts of the building that are officially built. The cathedral are built. And that's where you gain the influence, which is part of the game. And as you do that, players can place their markers higher and higher, and you start to build your cards, these cards as you go up. And you're trying to do like a little bit of an area dominance. So like if you're in that column next to the board, if you have the most influence in that column, then you get points for the entire column of the building in a sense. Okay. So there's a fight for that stuff. And that's really cutthroat. Also, people who have not completed their parts under you, they lose points. So there's really like a kind of a beatdown thing going on. May not be a big deal for you. Some people don't like that. But yeah, you got some interesting little things like even if you don't complete a card, if someone else completes a card, you can pay jewels to put little windows in their spots. So that helps you get some more influence even when you didn't finish things. So there's a lot of small stuff going on. There's even a cool little trigger that happens when you take dice. When you take one of the pieces off, you can put a tile in your board. You want to come back to me real quick?
Yep, hold on.
So on the cards, they have these little tiles when you claim them. What you do is you pay. Whoops, we'll flip this over. You pay this coins and you put it on the tile like this. So then when you go to town and you trigger a red die, you move the red die. I mean, you move your red die, and then you get this resource. Well, there's also some that when you move that color. Let me see. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let me do this. Then you may see this color red. You move the red die, but then you also get the benefit of the blue die. So now you're getting resources from 2 different sides of the board.
Ooh.
On the thing. Yeah. So and then when you get done doing your action as well, you roll the die and it changes the board game state. So there's a lot of, there's definitely some, you're like, wait, hold on now. Like, okay, they moved the die I wanted, but now it's a 2. That seems more juicy. And then you can also, if it matches your player color, you can even pay to move further along the track. So if you're too short or something, like that yellow die is a 1, you can move it one spot. But if you wanted to pay, you could actually play it to move further if your color is yellow. Even the white, yeah. So there's like a little bit of that going on, and like you see the red dye. I would get that resource, but then I would also get the resource from the blue. So that's a way to kind of get the resources you need to contribute to building the cathedral.
How big is this box? It looks
okay. So this is a small box.
I know
it's not that big.
You're describing a pretty big game.
But the thing is when you lay it out, it's bigger than what you think. Like when you play a 4-player game, you got some choices to make because it's actually like it's pretty sprawling. Like it's not small.
So I'm curious. On the website, it says 30 to 120 minutes a game. Is that?
I'm gonna say your first game is gonna be close to 2 hours.
Okay.
I think lower player counts will get to an hour. 2-player, because I mean, it's just one of those games that's gonna require like you don't want to let stuff slide because there's a lot of negative impacts. If someone has like there's sometimes I'll just use it for example. There will be one part of the cathedral that'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. Well, once I put something on the bottom, which is the door level, anybody can claim stuff above it. So what happens is somebody may complete something way up at the top, and then when they complete the card, everybody below it who hasn't finished loses influence. So you don't want to be the last one. So you're trying to figure out like, how can I get to this first? But I need to get the resources I want. And then it's like it's just a weird combination. It's a very interesting game. I don't know if everybody's gonna like this game.
Okay. Because
the theme is super dry. And I know how like they might not be a fan of the art style. And people do judge books by their covers. And I feel like this is one of those games that might suffer from that. But the scoring system is really interesting. I like the interaction in this one. It's just a real thinky game. So I hate saying thinky, but it really is a thinky game. It's a really thinky game.
Devir Games is one of those games that is one of those companies that's much bigger in Europe than here in America.
But they also publish they just have different games.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Nothing's like Silk, Barcelona. What is that? Michael Strogoff.
Right.
Right. There's a kids learning game that they have.
Like the one I played was the one that had Warhammer figures, and you're racing these crazy carts and kicking each other. And
that's what I'm saying. Like,
It's like all these strange themes.
What was that other one with Papao? Whatever. Papao.
That's them?
That was like this crazy dice placement type game. Yeah, I mean, like they have interesting titles.
Burley, you excited? What do you think?
I'm really curious about it. I'm kind of like you said, the art really doesn't draw me in, and that's so big for me. But I don't want to, cast it aside because of that, especially when
I totally feel you. Totally feel you.
All right, well, that's Red Cathedral from Devir Games. Interesting. Not a lot of chatter on the chat crew, but that's okay. Might be something.